The sun hung low over Willow Bend Ranch, casting long shadows across the dusty Texas soil as Lena's voice sliced through the intercom like a whip. "Ma'am, step back from the gate," she commanded, her tone sharp enough to cut through the humid air. But Sandra Pierce, in her garish pink tracksuit, sunglasses perched on her forehead like a self-proclaimed queen, wasn't having it. She stood inches from our steel ranch gate, one hand gripping her purse like it was a live grenade, the other jabbing her phone as she shrieked, "This is HOA property. You can't lock me out." From the ranch house, I, Ethan Carter, leaned back in my chair, sweet tea sweating in my hand, watching the security monitor with a grin I could barely suppress. Sandra, the HOA president of Cedar Grove Estates, was about to learn a hard lesson, and I had a front row seat. Then she made her move, dialing 911 with the confidence of someone who thought the world bent to her clipboard. "Officer, I'm at Willow Bend Ranch. These homeowners are illegally blocking me. I need help now," she barked into the phone. What Sandra didn't know was that Lena, my wife, was volunteering at the sheriff's dispatch that week. She took the call, her fingers flying across the keyboard to flag it as a trespass alert. When Deputy Martinez rolled up, lights flashing on his cruiser, he wasn't there to open our gate. He was there to cuff her. As Sandra's shrieks echoed and the handcuffs snapped shut, I knew this was only the opening shot in a war that would unravel her empire and expose a corrupt network stretching far beyond our quiet Oakville driveway. If you're hooked on this tale of defiance, check out my YouTube channel, MidnightTales, for more stories of folks standing their ground. I'm Ethan Carter, a 43-year-old retired paramedic who swapped the chaos of city ambulances for the peace of a 50-acre ranch in Oakville, Texas. After a decade dodging bullets and saving lives, I wanted nothing more than to raise goats, tend a garden, and build a life with Lena, my rock. At 40, Lena's a former full-time dispatcher, now part-time while running the ranch and homeschooling our son, Noah. We bought Willow Bend Ranch 6 months ago from an elderly couple who'd owned it for decades. It borders Cedar Grove Estates, a manicured HOA neighborhood ruled by Sandra Pierce, a late 50s tyrant who thinks her HOA bylaws give her dominion over the sun itself. From the moment we moved in, Sandra decided our ranch was a blight on her perfect community. She griped about our unkempt fence, our tacky mailbox, even our goats bleeding. But the real fight started when she claimed our private lake, which feeds a creek through Cedar Grove, was HOA property. Standing at our gate, she jabbed a key at the lock, yelling, "This lake is ours." I said, "No." Lena told her to leave. Sandra's response? A campaign of violation notices, harassing voicemails, and a drone buzzing our backyard. That's when we fortified the ranch with cameras, a reinforced gate, and a motion-triggered speaker blaring, "You're trespassing." Sandra hated it, but nothing prepared us for her next escalation. For more on how we turned the tables, head to MidnightTales on YouTube. It was a crisp Friday morning, and Lena was on dispatch duty while I fed the goats. The gate camera buzzed, and there was Sandra, her SUV parked crookedly, stomping toward the gate and pounding the intercom. "This is public access," she bellowed, then dialed 911 again. Lena, at the sheriff's office, recognized her voice. "Instantly, ma'am. Stay put. A deputy's coming," she said, flagging the call as trespassing. When Deputy Martinez arrived, Sandra rushed him, ranting about community obstruction. He cut her off. "Is this your property?" he asked. She scoffed. "It's HOA managed." Martinez asked for proof. She waved a vague HOA map, but when he pressed, she faltered. "You've been warned to stay off this land," he said, cuffing her as she screamed. "I'm the HOA president," he replied. "Exactly. You should know better." As the cruiser pulled away, I muttered to the camera, "That's how you handle an HOA bully." 3 days later, a letter arrived from a law firm, not Sandra's usual HOA nonsense, but a threat to sue for restricting access to a shared environmental resource, our lake. They claimed an old easement gave Cedar Grove rights to it. Lena scanned the letter and said, "This is about the maintenance road, not public use." We pulled our deed, confirming the easement was for repairs only. Furious, we headed to the Oakville courthouse, where Betty, a grizzled clerk, confirmed our land was never HOA property. "Sandra's reaching," she said. We called our lawyer, Tom Hargrove, a rancher who knew property law like his own herd. "They're bluffing," he said. "Let's hit back with a harassment and defamation suit." We weren't after money, just a message. You don't bully private landowners. Want to hear more about this legal showdown? Subscribe to MidnightTales on YouTube. The neighborhood buzzed. Noah's riding coach, Miss Clara, a Cedar Grove resident, called to say Sandra acted alone on that 911 call, and the HOA board was panicking. Homeowners were questioning where their dues went. Lena smirked. About time. But Sandra wasn't done. 2 days later, we woke to banging. Sandra was back, this time with 3 HOA board members, taping an access reinstatement notice. To our gate, Lena's voice boomed through the intercom. "You're trespassing again?" Sandra, undeterred, pulled bolt cutters from her bag, yelling, "This lake belongs to the people." One board member, Greg Larson, muttered, "Sandra, this wasn't the plan." I stepped out. Put those down, or it's property damage. Lena called 911, and our upgraded cameras caught every move. Martinez arrived, cuffed Sandra again, and the board members backed off. Greg saying, "I'm not part of this." As Sandra was loaded into the cruiser, she spat, "I know what you're hiding, and I'll expose it." Lena frowned. What's she talking about? That night, our shed's motion lights flickered. Cameras caught a shadow prying at Balak. By morning, we found tire tracks and a Cedar Grove parking tag. This wasn't just Sandra. We confronted Greg at his pristine Cedar Grove home. Pale and nervous, he admitted, "Sandra's working with Westfield Realty, a real estate firm. She's digging into your uncle's old water lease, claiming it's public domain for a community dock." Lena's eyes narrowed. "A dock on our lake." Greg nodded. "It's about money. She wants to boost property values and get a cut," he whispered. "Check your cameras. She's not alone." For the full scoop on this conspiracy, check out Midnight Tales on YouTube. We upgraded our cameras with night vision lenses, floodlights, and auto alerts to Martinez. HOA records revealed a Cedar Grove Lake project budget line, claiming our lake for a dock without our consent. Lena posted signs, "Private ranch? Trespassers prosecuted." We ran a newspaper ad, "Willow Bend Ranch is private. Respect the law." Sandra retaliated with red spray paint on our gate. HOA justice. Open the lake. Cameras caught her with a man in a ball cap, his clipboard bearing a Westfield Realty logo. A drone buzzed our property next, hovering low. Lena called Martinez. "They're surveying illegally." She dug into county records, finding a Westfield Realty proposal for a Cedar Grove Lake Trail, filed by a Victor Hayes, using our lakefront without permission. At a packed town hall, we showed the footage. Sandra's arrests, the drone, the paint, the fake proposal. Murmurs turned to outrage. An old rancher, Mr. Ellis, stood. "I sold land for Cedar Grove. Sandra's lying about access. I'll testify." Sandra stormed in, waving a 1973 boundary record claiming shared lake rights. Lena held up the real deed. "This is the original, yours is fake." Our lawyer, Tom, added, "That's fraud, Mrs. Pierce." The crowd demanded audits. Martinez stepped in, cuffing Sandra for fraud and vandalism. She screamed, "Others are coming for you." Westfield Realty sued, claiming we blocked community development. Victor Hayes, slick and smug, offered a cooperative resolution. Tom countered, "Drop your baseless suit, or face malicious prosecution." In court, Judge Larson grilled Westfield. "Where's the signed agreement for this land?" They had none. Lena testified, exposing the drone, the fraud, and a grant application Sandra filed for state funds using our lake. The judge dismissed Westfield's suit, issuing a protective order for our ranch. But Victor muttered, "This isn't over. Want to know how we shut them down for good? Head to on YouTube." Days later, Greg confessed, "Someone offered me $12,000 to lie about Sandra's rights." Lena recorded it, sending it to Martinez, and the DA squad cars raided Sandra's home, seizing files, cash, and emails linking her to Westfield and a Councilman Brooks, who fast-tracked permits. The scam wasn't just our ranch. Westfield targeted other properties with fake HOA rules and bribes. Lena contacted a former Westfield assistant, Maria, who revealed 4 similar land grabs. We sent everything to the FBI. A week later, Victor vanished, his office gutted. Then a text to Lena, "Stop or no one pays." Fear gripped us, but we moved to a safe house, Martinez stationing a cruiser nearby. The trial was electric. Lena took the stand, presenting the spray paint, fake grants, and emails. The FBI revealed $120,000 in transfers to Sandra and ghost HOA committees. A wire from Victor, recorded before he fled, admitted, Sandra said, "Shake the Carters until they break." Sandra's defense, claiming she meant well, crumbled. Guilty on fraud, racketeering, and conspiracy. She got 10 years and $300,000 in restitution. Westfield collapsed. Executives indicted. Cedar Grove dissolved its HOA. Homeowners reclaiming their land. Back at the ranch, Noah ran through the grass, Lena's eyes tearing with relief. Letters poured in from others fighting similar battles. A Kansas farmer wrote, "You showed me how to stand up." Lena smiled. "Sometimes you fight for more than yourself." Our lake gleamed. Our home hours again, proof that when bullies push, the truth pushes harder. For more stories of justice, subscribe to Midnight Tales on YouTube.